Where's Johnny? You're gonna need a bigger boat. Wow, so serious.
I am Iron Man.
This is a tasty burger.
Welcome to the In Session Film Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Chasing the Gold. I'm Shadan and Erica.
I'm Erica Richards. Hello.
Hello. Long time no see, friend. How are you?
I know. I'm good. You know, it's like springtime, so it's allergy season. So other than like, you know, weird Maryland weather and allergies, I always say like I love living somewhere where I get all the seasons and you don't know when you're going to get them, but you'll get them. So how are you? What's been going on?
I feel like our season hasn't changed enough yet, but it's gonna hit. I don't know when it's gonna hit, but it's gonna hit because it's like the yearly thing. And then allergies are so tricky because you're like, am I sick or am I just who knows?
It's like, you know, when you go outside and there's like that like just green dusting on everything, green dusting of pollen, like that's what it is right now here. So it's like I have that like itchy throat and itchy eyes, and it's like I feel fine otherwise, but like I just feel it's allergy, you know, it's allergies. So
and I told you, like, because the weather's so crazy, we didn't even get like proper wildflower season this year, which was a bummer because I'm like, where are my bluebonnets? Not here. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Well, Erica, I should say, so we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, like unintentionally. I think we were gonna take like a little bit of a break, and then we just didn't come back. So
it's like you blink and 2 months have gone by.
Exactly. Which and I do want to talk to you about this because you know how regular normal people like experience like a post holiday blues. I legitimately every year, Erica, have like a post award season like depression that hits. Like it's like really bad. And then this year I feel like was worse because you like came to visit and we had so much fun, and then you left, and then I was like, the Oscars are over and Erica's gone. Like it like really hit me. Like it was like a sudden like kind of, I don't know, like I felt like all the positive feelings just like left like all of a sudden. So
it's hard, right? Like when you look forward to something for so long, like I get I don't get the post award season as bad as you. I mean, I'm always like, oh man, like it's over. But you know what I get really bummed after is a post concert. When you look forward to a concert for so long and then you go to the concert and it's amazing, but then afterwards you're like, wait, what am I looking forward to now?
Well, that's the thing is like, I think what I'm trying to do now is like manage to like not get excited about anything so that I can't get bummed when the thing is over. But yeah, so I should ask you, now that we're like kind of 6 weeks ish removed from this past season, like, do you feel like you, I don't know, have any like lingering, has anything stayed with you or not stayed with you? Or like, has your opinion shifted? Have you watched anything, rewatched anything? Like,
well, of course, you know, I've rewatched Wicked. Let's be real. Of course.
Why did I even ask? I should,
I watched it on my birthday. It was so nice. So I do have some thoughts. It's funny because you know how it is, like, you have your friends that don't really keep up as much, or they like wait until the Oscars and they're like texting you the next day, like, hey, do I need to watch this one, or what should I watch, or oh, what about this, or what about that? So it's like funny because afterwards I always get texts from people, and you know, there's certain people in your life that you know you can set, like very few people that it's like recommend anything to them, right? But there's certain people where it's like, how do you feel about body horror? Okay, yeah, don't ever watch The Substance. You know what I mean? So it's like stuff like that. But then it's also like, oh, I really want to watch The Brutalist. And I'm like, do you? It's like 4 hours. So like, I think you need to prepare yourself. And also like, I'm still trying to unpack that in my head. You know, like still how many months late, like, you know what I mean? Like what we saw it in, when was I there? February? Yeah.
Early March. Yeah.
I'm still sitting with that. I'm still thinking about that. And quite frankly, I don't think that's an every person, like every man film. Like, I don't think it's an every person film. I think certain people are going to turn it on and get through a certain part and they're never going to watch the whole thing. You know what I mean? I have been telling a lot of people to watch Anora because I do think it is an interesting Oscar winner. I think we talked about this too, like immediately post Oscars, that we aren't sure it was like a 4 Oscar for one person night of type of movie. But I do like Anora, and I think it's a fun film and a really well done film. And there's a lot of things that I appreciate about it. I do need to watch it again because I haven't watched it again, but I will recommend it to people. And then of course I'm like, oh, watch Nickel Boys. Or, I was at like a friend's birthday party and I was meeting a bunch of her friends for the first time. And they like started talking to me about film. And she's like, oh yeah, Erica like does films. Like, so it was like cool because they've like seen a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, oh, like you watch Nickel Boys? Like, I don't have to try to explain to Nickel Boys to somebody, So yeah, so that's just, fun. So it is fun to like talk film with people like after the Oscars because I feel like that's really the only time, right? Otherwise, people or my friends are just like, oh my God, I don't have time to go to the movies, or oh, I haven't been to the movies in years, or oh, the only thing I ever watch is Moana because that's what my kid is watching, So it's like, so yeah, I mean, and then I'll tell people like, oh yeah, you should watch A Real Pain, like it's on Hulu, really easily accessible. It's like I also try to like tell people about the easily accessible things, What about you?
Honestly, I feel like in what you're saying, like I feel like a lot of these movies, I mean, even Anora, like I know some of the people in my life that were a little bit more conservative did not react well to that film. My like aunt came to visit and she and my mom watched The Substance together and they both hated it. And I'm like, well, you should have asked me first. I would have told you were gonna not like it, because it's like you're saying, like certain movies are not universal, and I'm like sorry to say that, but you kind of have to know your audience. So yeah, I feel like this past year, I mean, maybe Wicked would probably be the most universal, although some people just don't like musicals, but like,
yeah,
I mean,
well,
I'm still stumping for Sing Sing.
Yeah, I have a friend who does not like a musical, and I said, okay, but like I need you to watch Wicked. It is not like, and she's like, yeah, I know. She's like, I've been hearing so much about it and this and that. And she had a great reaction to Wicked. She even talked about how powerful the like, ending was and everything. So that was like great because she was like, I really did enjoy the songs and like it was really well done and like the story's great, so it was like, I always too appreciate when someone does step out of their comfort zone, or like, hey, like I'm not this type of like I'm not a musical person. It's like, okay, but like watch it. You know what I mean? I have recommended Sing Sing to everyone. Like, please watch that.
I feel like if there's one thing that we accomplished with this podcast is like getting people to at least be a little bit more open to getting out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm trying to do just for myself, is like, okay, maybe you're not, this type of thing doesn't seem like your thing, which we can get to because I have been breaking out of my comfort zone in the TV arena. But there's a bit of breaking news that you and I need to discuss first, my friend.
Yes.
Which is that we're getting a new Oscars category.
Yes, this is a big deal. Yes.
Yes. Best Stunt Design is going to be added in 2027 for the movies of 2027 for the 100th Oscar show. So
amazing.
That's going to be, yes. And we're getting Best Casting, which is going to be starting next year. So for the first time, so before this, the last category we got was Best Animated Feature, but now we're getting casting and then we're getting stunts for the 100th show. How are we feeling?
Very excited. I think it's exciting. I think it's showing that the Oscars is trying to move in towards like, what people want to see and like what people want to see awarded, which is like really cool. How is, I was thinking about it and I haven't read enough up on it. I just like have, read the headline and like skimmed through it really quickly. But how is that going to work? Is it the actual stunt people being awarded? Like, how is this going to work?
I'm going to assume that it's going to be the stunt coordinator, like, because even when you have like hair and makeup, like it's like the lead, makeup person, and like that usually. So I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing. Like maybe if there's like one or two key players, but but I don't know if we know for sure, like if they've announced the details of that or not. But that's a good question.
Right. Well, and also like, there's probably a lot of things that are considered stunts in film that people aren't realizing is a stunt. So it's like, I think we were just like immediately thinking like these like crazy powerful action films, which yes, but right? Am I crazy? Like,
no, because even something like Honora, like there's like a stunt coordinator for stuff like that. Like I think anything that has to do with sort of like a choreography or like on-set safety, like you're gonna have a stunt coordinator. A really cool interview that I got to do last year was for Thelma, like the Squid movie, and they had an incredible stunt coordinator whose job was like, how do we sort of make these little like car chase scenes and these little like not traditional action sequences, but like how do we make them safe and how do we make them look good. So that's I think a really cool aspect of this too, is like just how many people are going to learn about stunt design through this. And to your point, like this is the thing, it's like the Oscars are like, how do we attract more people, how like trying to add blockbuster categories. It's like, no, if you want to have blockbusters, like this is the perfect way to like you were saying, add in the things that people are going out to see. And I've said this all along, it's like all you have to do is produce a good show and you will find an audience. Like you may not find the audience of 30 years ago where every household in the country was, but like that's not going to happen anyway because we've moved past that. So it's like if you just focus on our mission is to honor film, then you're going to find your audience. And like this is the perfect way to do that, because you should have been honoring the stunt people. You should have been honoring the casting director a long time ago. So I'm really glad that we're moving towards that.
Yeah, me too. And I'm glad you pointed out that like this is going to help people like learn about stunts and casting and all these things. And it's like it's interesting because I'm thinking about like how they do vote, like nominating and voting, and like I think it's going to be interesting to see what makes the first like list of nominees, because you know how we were talking a lot about Nickel Boys with like cinematography and stuff, and it's like I don't know, I just think it's going to be interesting the first couple of years. Like I hope it goes well so that it's like received well, if that makes sense, because like you don't want it to kind of be a flop, you know what I mean? I think people like us are excited, but I don't know. And like my one friend who's like really into the Oscars, sent it to me, but I don't think something like this is even on people's radar. So I don't know. I am excited, and I think it's a really good thing. I'm going to be interested to see how, because I mean, even, this is a good thing too, because remember a couple years ago, they were wanting to do certain awards, like during the commercials and stuff.
Yeah.
And everyone flipped out. I just don't want it to be one of those types of things where it kind of like, do people care about it or not? I don't know. It's also funny because like my friend, like I remember one of my friends texting me, I guess it was the day after the Oscars, and she was like, did Wicked like seriously not win an Oscar? I was like, it won too. And she was like, well, the way people are reacting on Reddit makes it sound like it didn't win anything. I'm like, okay, well, like it's because Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande didn't win. Like that's what they're freaking out about. You know what I mean? It's like it won 2 Oscars. Like, sure, we wanted it to win more. Some people wanted it to win more, whatever. But like the ones, it's like, you get what I'm saying? It's like people dismiss like the filmmaking type of awards because it's not like the star, like the, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I didn't think about that side of things. I was going to go the other way and go more positive with it, because even if you think of something like animated feature, like when they introduced that category, there wasn't too many like people didn't really consider animation. Maybe I'm wrong, but like I feel like back then maybe animation wasn't considered high art the way that it is now, where I feel like if we look at the animation, I mean, we get like Spider-Birds, Flow, like these really, really cool, like the Miyazaki films. And so like maybe this newfound like Oscar's attention will like push the art of stunt design forward. And I mean, it's been around as long as films have been around. Like it's an incredible art form, but I mean, like maybe this newfound attention will maybe drive like innovation or like some new sort of artistic. It'll be interesting to see. Or same thing with casting. Like there's so many inspired casting choices and casting directors, and I feel like maybe that recognition, like in bringing that forward, like is that going to inspire like a new generation? Again, maybe that's cheesy, sappy, or whatever, but as like I do think, as I've said over and over again on this podcast, like the Oscars do have a cultural impact, and so like when they choose to recognize these things, like that is going to be significant, and we kind of just have to wait and see how the chips fall, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I hope it didn't sound negative because I am excited and I think it's a great thing. I hope it's received as well as I want it to be received, if that makes sense.
And I think I think you have made a great point, Erica, but I think that's on the show producers to be like, hey, we have a new category. Let's do a really good job of using this as an opportunity to explain to people what these people do and highlight how talented they are. And again, like the history of stunt coordination or all these different things, like it's a really good opportunity for the show to do something unique and creative. Like the Academy Museum, like I would love to see them, kind of do something with it. So like the opportunity is there. It just depends on if they want to take the reins or not. Hire us to do it. I'll do it.
Right, 100%.
Yeah. I also say I would love to see, if we're branching out, can we please do like a motion capture or like a voice, like a vocal performance category? I feel like just makes sense to me, and I don't know why we're not there yet, because I feel like seriously some of the best performances are like motion capture, or like if you think of like some of the most iconic, like Robin Williams as the genie in Aladdin, or like Eddie Murphy in Mulan. I just feel like
right.
Do you have any categories you'd like to see?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and the other one is choreography. I would think it would be really cool if they did a choreography at some point. But do you have any categories that you think that they should honor, that we should add?
Wow. Gosh, I think those are two really good ones. I'm trying to think off the top of my head now. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Well, I feel like people have been saying stunts for years and that we got it. So
yeah, and casting. I think casting is really exciting too, because sometimes like you leave a film and you're like, wow, that was perfectly cast. Like, and there's no recognition for that. So unless it's something like best ensemble or something, but that's not a thing at the Oscars. So I like that it's this instead, it's like the casting is the actual.
I don't think they could do best ensemble even if they wanted to. Like I feel like the casting is the way to honor the ensemble.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it'll be interesting because it's like, does casting just turn into like it's gonna just go to whatever film wins best picture, or is it gonna go its own way? Same thing with stunts. Like, is it gonna be like, if there's a very obvious best picture contender in the category, is that going to be the one that wins it, or are they going to kind of be a little bit more creative?
Yeah, maybe something like, I don't know, this makes me think of like Barbie's marketing campaign. It was just so like chef's kiss. Is like, would marketing be like something that could be awarded? I don't know. That
would be cool though. I feel like with the way that because publicity, I think there's a publicity branch. The Academy has added a publicist branch, so it wouldn't surprise me if at some point they were like advocating for their own category. I was gonna say, anytime any award show like adds a category, or if they expand their category, I always think of like all the really talented people who didn't win, and then they're probably like, darn, if my film would have come out, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like, would have had the stunt category on lockdown, or like Fall Guy from this year.
Yeah, but you know what? Hopefully those people can look back at their films and say like that somehow catapulted that award into becoming even more of a thing because of, that was just a couple years ago, right? Like, hopefully.
Yeah, and to your point, I would love to see, like, it would be, obviously there's like Dune or like the Mission Impossible films, like these very obvious sort of stunty films, but I would really like to see them kind of maybe honor like films that use stunts in a really more creative way. Like, I think that would be really cool to see.
Right.
So we'll see. I'm excited.
Right. Me too.
So, Erica, have you seen anything lately? A film? I think we should branch out into TV since it's Emmy season. There's a lot of good TV. Have you seen or anything that's exciting to you that we should use our little platform to talk about?
Yeah, I feel like I've not seen, like, I feel like I haven't been to the theater in months. We were hoping to see Drop this weekend, but we didn't make it, but I will see that soon at some point. Drop looks really fun. It looks like totally my type of film, like thrillery, suspenseful. And I'm hearing good things. Like, I don't think it had as big of a weekend as maybe they were thinking, but like it still looks really fun. But I think we're in that weird like lull of time right after award season ends and before like summer blockbusters like start hitting. So I feel like we're just kind of in this weird time frame. But I have been we've been watching a lot of TV, catching up on a lot of TV. So I'd love to talk TV. But what about you? Is there anything film-wise that you've seen? I also the little indie theater in Baltimore, the Charles, is still showing No Other Land in the theater. And I like really want to get there before because that still hasn't gotten a distributor, right?
Yeah. I still haven't seen it, shamefully.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how would you,
Yeah, I think we got really spoiled last year, weirdly, because there was all these films that got pushed back because of the strike. So we had a lot of stuff. We had like Challengers come out in March. Dune Part 2 came out in March. So we kind of got spoiled last year. And then this year, I feel like it's really been a lull. The movie that I really want to talk about is Bob Trevino Likes It. It's like this tiny indie movie, and it stars
playing at the Charles too. Yeah.
It's so okay. Let me tell you, I'm going to story time because I follow the director Tracy Lehman on Instagram, and she was like driving around, and I was like, this really looks like where I live. And it turns out it was where I live. She was in sort of the River Oaks area of Houston because she's from Houston. I had no clue. And the River Oaks Theater, it's like the kind of iconic, the one that I wanted to take you to. They did like a big premiere for her movie, and she came and she did like several Q&As for her film, and I got to go and meet her, and she was so nice and lovely. And honestly, to be honest with you, like I went because I was like, oh, like I need to support this like Houston filmmaker. But the movie, Erica, I love it so much. Like, I'm sorry, I'm letting you know right now, it's April 13th. This is my new Sing Sing that I will not shut up about. And I think it'll be hard for me to find something that I enjoyed as much as I enjoyed this movie. It's really good. It's so sweet. It's so nice.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. So like I said, that's also playing there at the little indie theater, and it was like something that I clicked on. I was like, what is this? Like so what's it about? Like, tell us what's it about.
It's basically this young woman, Barbie Ferreira I've never seen Euphoria, but she's one of the stars of Euphoria. Yep. She has a falling out with her father, played by the great French Stewart from Third Rock from the Sun, whom I've been obsessed with my entire life. And so she has a falling out with him. So she's like on Facebook looking for, and this is based on a true story of like something that happened to the director, which is incredible. Oh, wow. But she's like on Facebook looking for her dad, and she sees somebody that has like the same name as him, like another Bob Trevino. So she adds him thinking that it's her dad, and then realizes that it's like not her dad, but then he's like, kind of liking her photos and like leaving her nice and kind of interacting with her. So then they like become friends, and it's like a really sweet story of like found family. And that I'm like a cynical monster. So anytime I feel like these movies like soften my heart and be like, there is kindness in the world. Like people can be good. Like I love this movie, and I know it's like a tiny movie, but I feel like it's definitely worth like your time and worth supporting. Like it's her directorial debut, and so I just think, and it's such a confident debut, which is really cool because a lot of times when it's like somebody's first movie, you can kind of tell, but I feel like she knew so clearly like the story, and because it was so personal, it was something that happened to her, so that's my favorite thing that I have seen.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm gonna add that more to the top of my list. I wonder do you know if it'll be streaming anywhere anytime soon?
I don't know and I think it's really cool that they, went the theatrical route with it and didn't just dump it on a streamer. So I hope that these little indie theaters keep it around for as long as possible. I don't know what the plan is after that, but
I'll definitely try to get there to see it before it leaves the theater. But yeah, it was on my radar because, well, I was like, what is this? Right. I always love to click on when I see something that is not even on my radar. But when I saw the actress from Euphoria, I'm like, oh, I know who that is. And like, I was like, what is this? So yeah, it sounds like, it also sounds like something like it's not, a remake or a sequel or it sounds really original, which is, we all want something fresh right now, I think.
Yeah. And speaking of original, I do want to mention, did you get a chance to see Mickey 17 when it was out?
Okay. That was like barely in theaters, I felt like. We had intended to see it. We actually like had tickets and like we went to dinner. And like before dinner, I like wasn't feeling well. And it was like, I'm not going to make it to the movie. Like, I know I'm not. So we ended up having to cancel our tickets, but we had intended to see it. And then after like when I was, a few days later, I was feeling better, whatever. It was like, we were trying to, get there. And it was like, I've just been so busy. And then all of a sudden it's like not in theaters anymore.
Yeah.
And I saw that it's like streaming. So we will I'll watch it soon, but
yeah, and I will say like Bong Joon-ho is one of those directors where I've watched every single thing that man has done. Like I'm obsessed with him. And I liked it. Like there's one of those movies where there's certain movies that when they come out, I'm like, I will pay for this. Like I want to support like the film. And so I felt very strongly that like I need to pay to go see it. And I did like it, but to be honest with you, I don't think I've thought about it since. You know what I mean? Like I would just randomly thought about it. I was like, I guess I should mention Mickey 17, but I don't know. I feel like by the end of the year, like it's not going to be something that stands out.
I don't feel like I really saw anyone talking about it, which surprised me. Like, there wasn't really any buzz about it.
I think the problem is that a lot of people were expecting like a Parasite level film, and it's not that at all, which is fine. But I feel like when you have such high expectations, like it was never going to measure up. It kind of reminds me of like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I feel like whatever the Daniels do next, like people are just going to be like, really? When it's like, you can't expect a filmmaker to make I don't know. So I think it's definitely worth watching on streaming. I just don't know. I was thinking like maybe it'll be like a contender for adapted screenplay. Maybe it'll be, production. I mean, maybe production design. I actually like the production design a lot, but I don't think it's going to be that type of a film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of bummed I didn't get to the theater for it because I was excited for it, and then it just kind of like, it just like what do they say about March? Like in like a lion out like a lamb, or what, in like a lamb out like a lion, whatever the saying is. I feel like it was like it came and then it like quietly left. I don't know.
Sorry, I don't know if anyone else could hear this. Oh, I think it's my headphones. Like they're running out of battery, so it beeps, but it's It sounded like you know when somebody like on live TV like cusses and they bleep it. It sounded like I was like bleeping you or something. Sorry.
No, I can't hear it for the record.
Okay, well it was in my own ear. I'm trying to bleep.
At least you have your headphones. I completely forgot about mine, and JD is probably gonna cuss us out.
Yeah,
because
I forgot to charge mine. I had my buds in, and then they died, so I put in my there. This is about to die too, but anyway, it was just like a bleep. It was like a prolonged. I was like, "Ooh, Erica." The other movie that I have not had a chance to see that is I've heard a very kind of divisive reaction is Warfare, like the new Alex Garland movie, because I feel like critics haven't liked it, but then I've heard like just people have enjoyed it a lot, and people are saying like, oh, the sound design is so good, so we'll see. But Alex Garland has had several misses in a row for me, so I'm kind of hesitant to see anything from him at the moment. But
what else has he done? Ex Machina?
That one. He wrote Sunshine, which I love. What else? He did Annihilation, which I really like that movie a lot, and then he did Civil War, which I did not enjoy. And then he did Men, which is okay, but not great. So I feel like his output recently, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let me know what you think of when you see that. I'm sure
I'm sure I'm gonna have opinions, and I probably won't even wait for this. You'll get a text. I'm sure that'll be that level of certain things. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait for the podcast, and then certain things I'm like, no, Erica needs to know about this right away.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm sure that's gonna be you need to know right away. But one thing that I have saved for the podcast, Erica, that I would like to talk about as we talk about TV, because it is Emmy season. I know this is a film podcast, but and I just have to say, and I've mentioned this a couple of times on this podcast, but I tend to like whenever I meet somebody in the real world, like ask them like, oh, how long has it been since you've been to the movies? Like, I'm very curious about this. And like the number one thing that I hear from people is like, oh, why would I pay to go to the movies when I can watch XYZ on my TV?
Right.
And I feel like TV right now is like killing it. Like the amount of good stuff that I've seen, and I feel like I kind of understand this mentality now. And as you know, like I live in the city, so not only now do I have to pay for my movie ticket, I have to pay like $20 for parking. So I feel like I'm like, oh, do I want to pay $40 to see this movie that may or may not be good, or do I want to spend 10 hours, 15 hours of my life binge watching this show that's gonna like break my brain?
Right.
So I don't know if that's an opinion that's going to get us kicked off this podcast, but
no, and as someone who, and I know you love going to the movies, I love going to the movies. There's just something about, and Tyler and I like are usually people who, we come home from work and, have dinner or whatever. And then it's like, we usually like pick out a movie to watch. Lately, we have not been watching any movies. It's all television, catching up on so much stuff. That people are talking about. People at work are like, have you seen this yet? Have you started watching this yet? There's just so much good television out there right now. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to discuss.
I want to know, hit me, because I want to see where we have overlap, because we haven't talked TV.
So we binged Adolescence on which we'll have to talk about that, because that I feel like has really the actual filmmaking side of it has been so much of the discussion in people watching it, because it is 4 episodes of one take, right? Which is just like my favorite thing. And I always love to tell people, well, you should watch Rope, which is Alfred Hitchcock's film from 1948, which was the first film to ever do the one shot take. So I always love to also educate people about that. We binged Paradise. Did you watch that?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that. And then oh gosh, we just binged The Residence. Did you watch that?
It's literally I'm probably gonna watch it like when we get off this podcast.
Okay. Have you started it at all?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about it, because I enjoyed it, but I have a lot of things to say about it. And no spoilers for you, but it just, what I will say was, I think it's like, I love like a murder mystery thing, right? It's very like Knives Outy. It's done very well. It just got too long. So I'll be interested to see if you feel the same way. What else? Of course we finished Severance. What else? Oh gosh, I should have written a list down. What have I not said yet? We are still catching up on White Lotus, so we haven't finished White Lotus yet.
Okay. I have a lot of opinions about the White Lotus. Have you seen The Pit?
Yes. Oh my God.
We need to start with The Pit because this is what I mean about getting out of my comfort zone. So I'm not going to get too into my personal history on this podcast, but I have a problem with anything that has to do with medical stuff. I don't like it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to touch it. I've maybe seen one episode of Grey's Anatomy in my entire life. I never watched never watched ER, nothing.
And so, I am not a medical show girly either.
The show comes out and I'm like, I have too much baggage with this thing. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I can't. But then like nobody would shut up. Like I'm like from episode 1 of this show, like I just heard so much. It was like my entire Twitter feed. And I was like, which by the way, I did try to abandon X for like a month and then I gave in, which I'm ashamed of. But anyway, so like my entire, and I was like, you know what? Like, let me just watch it like 1 episode, 2 episodes just to see what people are talking about.
Yep.
Well, I want to tell you that I binged like maybe 10 episodes of this show like in a row. And the amount that I cried.
It's so good. Okay. You're going to judge me, but you're going to laugh because you know me. So same exact situation. Like I'm not a medical show girly. I'm not a medical anything girly. My friends are nurses. I love them. I appreciate them. Thank God for what they do. I don't want to see any of that, touch any of that. Whatever they're paying you is not enough. Right. And like they're always like talking medical and I'm just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Right. And like I said, like you said, maybe you've seen 1 episode of Grey's Anatomy in my whole life. Like, you know, it just was never a thing for me. Same exact situation. Like Tyler was like, people keep telling me we need to watch this, blah, 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 blah. I am such a Baltimore girly that does not like Pittsburgh. I very much was like, I don't want to watch a show based in Pittsburgh. Sorry, Pittsburgh people out there. I have a lot of friends who are from Pittsburgh. It's like a fun little joke between us, like that, you know, Baltimore and Pittsburgh hate each other. But he broke me down and was like, Erica, like get past that. Like it took a few times. Like I was like, no, I don't want to watch the show like based in Pittsburgh. Like I'm not about that. Right. Like even the show, what was it? This Is Us. Like for a while, I was like, no, I'm not watching this. This is like Pittsburgh people. Like I'm not doing it.
Oh my God.
But I got past it, my friends. I got past it. And I'm so glad I did because wow, what a show. It's going to win so many Emmys, I think. Like it's so good. I can't wait for the next season. Tyler and I binged, I think like, how many episodes was it? Maybe 8 episodes. And then we were like, oh my God, there's like a bunch more coming out. Like so then it was like, we'd have to wait every week. But yeah, incredible show. Incredible
like a crazy person, or did you have a normal reaction?
I had a few moments, not as many as I thought I would, but I also like, I think too with medical stuff, I very much like have to put a wall up because I don't want to get too wrapped up in it. Yeah, incredible show. Incredible. Like I think it's going to win so many Emmys.
I think it's, because the other show that I am also like, I'm a big Severance fan, but I thought the second season was a little bit all over the place.
Yep.
And I think The Pit, like I sometimes tend to be a bit hyperbolic. I understand that about myself. But I really think it's like some of the best TV I've seen in a long time. Like maybe since honestly Succession for me was like the last time I can think of really being this and sort of enthralled by something.
100%.
Like, I just thought the whole idea of like it's all one shift and like I think and I'm not I'm not medical people, but I think it's like very realistic to like the issues that are kind of going on in hospitals, just in terms of like fentanyl and all these different things, and like there's a sort of mass casualty event that happened. I felt like that was just such a interesting like take on a medical drama.
Yeah. Well, even down to like the administrative side of things, right? That one woman who keeps coming in who's like talking about like patient satisfaction ratings or whatever. We're like, I have heard my girlfriends who are nurses talk about that before, where they're like, you know, they will get a bad rating because someone will say like the food in the cafeteria was bad, or there was no like paper towels in the waiting room, like bathroom. And she's like, no, like, how was your medical care? Like, that's what you're rating. Like, rate your medical care. And like that stuff really does affect them. Like, those ratings determine like if they get pay raises, if they get so it's like, that was really interesting for me too. All my friends who are nurses, I was like, please watch this show. Like, please, I need you guys to watch it. Tyler also is one of those people that like, when a show is based on something in reality, you know how they'll have those YouTube things with like experts? It'll be like, let's sit down with an emergency room trauma doctor and like have him watch this scene and break down like how much of this is accurate, how much of it's not, and like he was watching it or whatever, and there was like, I don't know, something very graphic, and the doctor was like, oh, they're not going to they're showing that. Yeah, actually that's what it's like, And even like me, like I remember like texting like my friend who's a nurse, like asking a question, because Tyler was like, ask Katie if that's really how it happens, or whatever. And it was something about like when they do the people can't do
impressions.
Yeah, no, the where they shock you.
Yeah.
And she said something, I don't remember what is that. She's like, we do shout all clear though, or everyone clear or whatever, So it's just funny because like something that is so specific based on people's experiences, for it to be accurate and like, acknowledged on how accurate it is, I think is really cool. But yeah, even just like getting invested in these characters and like what's going on with them.
I think the other thing, and somebody brought up this is not my thought, but I thought it was so interesting to talk about, which is that it's, from what I've seen, one of the first shows that's like really dealing with COVID trauma. And I think part of what maybe the popularity is like, this is something we haven't talked about collectively yet, and maybe we need to do that. And so I think that's a really interesting sort of ripple in all of this.
Well, I think a lot of people, myself included, have, if it's ever come up, it's always like been like, oh no, it's too soon. Like it's too soon, right? But I feel like the way the pit approached it was really thoughtful and like really well done, and made it so personal and not like just about the medical part of it, right? It made it like so personal, which I think it worked. Like it totally worked.
Yeah. Also, now I love the pit so much that I'm like, should I watch ER? Like, I'm so tempted to just start ER, because I'm like, now I get to see Noah baby while
I know.
I was not familiar with him. I apologize. I'm like kind of obsessed with him now.
Same.
He seems like charming and wonderful, and I'm like, why did I not know who you were? I'm sorry.
You're gonna laugh at me, but I think if there's ever a live action Wild Thornberrys, he should play Nigel Thornberry, because I think he looks like him. Like their nose is the same. Something about their nose. I don't know. Anyways, I'm glad you brought up the pit. Shame on me for even forgetting. Like I said, I was like gonna pull up IMDb. I'm like, what other shows are popular right now?
Yeah, I just don't think. Again, I feel like I just am not going to see anything that's like that I feel this strongly about. I really, and like I said, I just had such a like strong emotional reaction, and I was so tempted to be like, no, this is too much. But I'm glad that I pushed through. What did you think of Paradise?
Okay. I really enjoyed it. It also sucked me in. Tyler kept saying he's like, oh, let's watch it. And I'm like, oh yeah. One of my coworkers keeps like asking me like, have I started it yet or whatever. I'm like, okay. And I love Sterling K. Brown. So I'm like, I'm in, right? It was funny because Tyler was like, oh, my mom ruined like the premise of the show for us. Don't you remember? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? There must have been like some family function that I couldn't go to for whatever reason. I don't remember why I wasn't there. And his mom kind of like ruined the very end of the first episode, right? But I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I got to watch it without knowing that, right? Should we like say spoiler alert?
I don't think we should. Or do you want to? Okay,
well,
spoiler. Yeah, let's talk about
spoiler
it.
alert if you have not watched
Paradise.
Yeah, like fast forward. We're giving you time right now to fast forward like 3 minutes or 5 minutes, however long we're going to talk about this. But okay, so spoilers. It was so funny because as soon as the episode started, I immediately noticed like the like I made a point to say like this looks very David Finchery, like the way it's like the coloring, right? Like the way it was shot. And Tyler's like, very interesting that you noticed that right away. Because then at the end of the episode, you see that they're in like a dome, basically, with, or there was the sign too, right towards the end where it was like sunset delayed 2 hours due to like maintenance or whatever. And you're just like, what? Like, what? Because apparently the world has ended and we carved out a mountain in Colorado and 25,000 people got to go live in this, so it's just like, it's a little ridiculous premise, but I'm in, right? Like I'm invested now. But yeah, at the end, you're very much like, what the, what is this? What's happening? So what about you? Like, were you shocked again?
I did not notice, which it would be interesting to watch it back because I'm sure there's things that are gonna be like, oh, but like I was at the end, I was like, oh, I did not realize it was gonna be this kind of show. But yeah. I liked it. I don't know. Did you ever finish This Is Us, Erica?
No, I didn't. You will notice that if you do watch it back, sorry, I just want to say too, because like I also was like, this is weird. Like, this isn't the White House. Like, where's the president living? Right. And like, they say something about his dad, like going out to the guest house. I'm like, where are they? Like, there's a guest house at the White House. Like, what? I was like, no, what? No, like, this is weird.
Well, also because spoiler alert, like, because I guess what happens is like, he's technically extended past his term. So that's what I was confused about. I was like, how long has this man been president? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then you're like, oh. But no, I just think it's like, apparently there's like a 3-season plan for the show. I hope that they know what they're going to do. Because I feel like by the end of the season, it's already gone way off the rails. Yes. So I just feel like it's going to keep going off the rails. And I don't know how on board I'm going to be. But to your point, like if Sterling K. Brown is on my screen, I will be there. Like, you know that meme that's like, if he has 0 fans, I'm dead. I feel like that's me with Sterling.
I'm seated for him. I think he's wonderful.
And James Marsden. I feel like James Marsden is like one of the most like underappreciated actors. I don't know if I've said this, but like Jury Duty is a show that I've watched like 3 times. Like I'm obsessed with Jury Duty.
And my God, us too.
He's so underrated. I feel like he can do everything. He can do drama, he can do comedy, he can do like the leading man thing, and he's 100%. So good. I feel like Sterling K. Brown, rightfully so, like people are talking about how good he is in the show. I understand, but like James Marsden, like he could have just made that like a throwaway role, and he was so good. I feel like my favorite parts of the season were like his parts. So that's my big takeaway. Like I will continue to stay on James Marsden.
Yes, no, we are also obsessed with him. I always liked him. Jury Duty like catapulted us into like obsession with him. We love James Marsden. But yeah, I do agree with you that it did kind of go off the rails. I'm really interested because I was talking with Tyler like about like what do we think the second season is going to be. I'm like, I wonder if it's going to be like a flash, but like way more like of a flashback. Because I want to know how all these people out there survived and how did Sterling K. Brown's wife survive? Like when she was supposed to be in the epicenter of like whatever happened, Like,
well, I think the second season is gonna take place outside of the dome, is my guess. They're doing 3 seasons. Like, I feel like season 2 is gonna be like outside of the dome, and then season 3 is like the two worlds kind of colliding together. If that's the arc of the show, but like, spoiler alert, we're still talking about spoilers, but like the ending is like Sterling K. Brown going off by himself, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And like, his whole thing is like, I'm a single dad, I love my kids, but then you're leaving your children like to go on a plane. How is there enough fuel? Like, what is the like mechanics of this?
And he's like flying the plane, right? So like, you're it, like, right? I don't know.
No one else. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
but I also feel like he is who he is because he felt like he left his wife, and like he needs to reclaim that for himself because that really messed him up, I think.
Yeah, like, but from my perspective, I'm like, your kids are gonna be, if you die, like, your kids are, I don't know. I don't agree. Yeah. I morally do not agree with that. But also, Erica, I don't know if you're like this, which I should say, so because of the pit, I'm like, what other things have I stayed away from that I was like, I'm too traumatized? So I'm like trying to like actually engage with things that are emotionally difficult, because I'm like, if you can handle the pit, maybe you can handle this other thing.
Yeah.
And then because of Paradise, I'm kind of like, now I'm kind of getting into more like, not I've always loved sci-fi, but I'm trying to find like kind of apocalyptic stuff that I maybe haven't seen or engaged with. But anytime I watch anything that's like apocalyptic, the first thing I think of is like, well, in this scenario, I would definitely be dead. Like, I would not be one of the chosen 25,000 people, which, by the way, another question that I want answered in season 2 is like, how did they get all these people there? Like, how did without other people finding out? Like, did they were they already headed there? I really want to know. But also, like, because James Marsden plays the president, and like, he's like nice and decent, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. Like, that feels nice to see.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, even with the Hunger Games, like, even when I was like, oh, if this was me, like, I'd be dead. Like, that kind of takes me out of it sometimes, because I'm like, I would not be in this bunker. I would be like,
or even like A Quiet Place, like all the Quiet Place films. I'm like, I would never have, like, what? Yeah. I would have never survived. Yeah.
Yeah, I would not be a chosen one. No, so Paradise is, you kind of have to, it's one of those things where you kind of have to give yourself over to the premise and just go with it. But I did enjoy it. What was the other? Oh, Adolescence. It was, it was good. I will say, I don't think I loved it as much as everyone else. Maybe just because it was so hyped by the time I had so many people that were like, watch it. But it was really good.
I feel like Tyler and I watched that early enough, like, that when everyone was talking about it, it was like, oh yeah, we already watched that, you know? But I want to hear your thoughts on White Lotus without spoilers, because like I said, I think we're only 3 or 4 episodes in, maybe. You said you had strong feelings about White Lotus this season.
I think the second season is my favorite season. Same. Which is funny. I met up with a friend yesterday, and we were in agreement about that. But it's very different from the other seasons. Like, it's not as plotty as the other seasons. It's like kind of more of a vibe. Even I think Mike White like gave an interview where he was talking about this, but it's more like a vibe season rather than like plot. So I think by the time, I don't know, I feel like maybe I have, also I will say, because there's so many memes about White Lotus and I've been engaging with the memes, like I like it more because of that. It just, not as much happens. And then one of the things that I really liked about the first 2 seasons of the White Lotus was like, I felt like the characters were very, like, all the storylines were way more connected than this season is, which is what I was expecting. But like, it's not as much. So like, it would have been fun to see more of the actors getting to play together. But I mean, I still like it. Like,
it's interesting that you say that, because where we're at with it right now, I think I keep looking for all those things that you're saying it doesn't have this season. And I'm like, where is that? Like, why am I not seeing these like stories interweaving? Like, I think I'm like looking for those things and I like can't find any of it.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, initially, like, I was like, I don't know if I like this, and then by the end, when I was like, oh, that's not what this season is doing. That's why, like, now I'm like, I can get more on board because of all the things I'm looking for. I'm just like, that's not what this is.
Cool. Yeah. Did you like it though? Because I agree with you. Like I said, I haven't finished season 3, but season 2 was my favorite. So
I feel like White Lotus is just one of those things that's like made for me. Like I feel like even a quote unquote weak season of White Lotus just has all the things that I enjoy because I just like seeing like really good actors kind of choose scenery and give. So I still really liked it. Like Carrie Coon is one of my favorite actresses working right now, and I think she's phenomenal. Yeah. There's other characters that come in. I'm not sure if you've gotten to them yet, but other actors that I really like. So yeah, I did really like it as a whole. It's just not typical White Lotus, I think.
Yeah.
But it's worth your time. Like I feel like I said, any season of White, even if there's like 20 seasons of White Lotus and it's like set in, I don't know, Galveston, Texas, I'm like, I'm there. Like I'm ready.
Right. No, totally. We'll finish it eventually. It's just we started watching it like when it first came out, and then it was like, we think we need to let this finish and then binge it. So we've been watching a few episodes here and there.
It'll be better as a binge. Have you so there's a couple things like Hacks season 4 just started. I haven't started it yet. I need to. And
I'm so behind on all of that.
The Last of Us, like I liked the first season. I think the second season just started, so I'm sure I'm gonna watch that at some point. And then Abbott Elementary, I know you're a big. Have you been watching this new season? I think it's really good. I feel like
good.
It's not
I love that show. It's so funny.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's just it always delivers. Like it always makes me laugh. Like, and it's just an enjoyable show. Like I love all of the characters. Yeah, love it.
And the other thing I haven't gotten, I really like Only Murders. I feel like that's also an underrated show people don't really talk about anymore. So I need to watch the new season of that. But
yeah, I haven't watched that either.
Anything
Did you watch
else?
Shrinking?
Yes, I do love Shrinking. That's another show that I feel like people don't talk about. That's really good.
Yeah. We started watching it, and I think there's 2 seasons out right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm only like halfway through the first season, so I need to finish that too because I really have been enjoying that. Also, of course, like this is really random to bring up, but of course, like, you know, I'm a true crime documentary girly. So have you watched, there's 2 really random things I want to talk about. One, are you following the Karen Reed trial as much as I am? Like, do you know who Karen Reed? Oh my God, Shadan. Okay, I need you I need you to immediately go watch the documentary on HBO Max. It is going to be biased for you if you know nothing about it because it is like Karen Reed's like story. It's her documentary, right? Anyways, this woman, I'll just say she was like, and you can watch, like you'll get a ton of content on this if you look it up. She was on trial for murdering her boyfriend. This takes place in Boston, so you're also going to have like a ton of really great accents when you watch anything with this. And the story is just bizarre. That's all I don't want to like it's too much to even talk about, but I want you to watch this because it's so bizarre. And her boyfriend was a Boston police officer, and it's just like the Boston Police Department is so corrupt. And I can say that because I'm from Baltimore and the Baltimore Police Department is so corrupt, but Boston Police Department is also really corrupt. So it's just wild. Like, I need you to watch the documentary. I need you to watch like some 2020 and Dateline on it because I need you to get caught up because she's about to. So the first trial was a mistrial and she's about to be on trial again. I've been watching the juries, like the past 2 weeks, they've been doing jury selection and I'm literally watching live jury selection. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like obsessed. I'm literally going to watch every second that I possibly can of this next trial. Also that crazy mom that killed her kids. Do you know who I'm talking about? Lori Daybell, whatever.
No.
She's like representing herself and that's been interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. Anyways, and then there was also this documentary on, I think it was on Netflix, about this guy who like is like a treasure hunter. Do you know what I'm talking about? And
I've been a hermit. I need you to get me caught up with the world because I've just been in my own bubble.
Well, this went on for like years. Shoot, what was that treasure? Oh, hold on. I'm gonna look up what the documentary was because it was so interesting. Treasure Hunter documentary. Shoot, what was it called? Come on. The Gold and Greed, the hunt for Fenn's treasure. So this man, his name was Forrest Fenn. He like basically was like, I'm gonna hide $1 million in like, here's like a riddle and some clues about where it's hidden. And these people who like, I didn't know treasure hunting was a thing, but like people literally hunt for treasure. And he literally like hid like a chest of gold in the rock. It was like, it's in the Rockies somewhere. And these, the documentaries about all these people that like tried to hunt and like find these treasures. And it just like sucks you in because you're like, this is something that I had no idea existed in the world. And these people like literally revolve their lives around trying to find this treasure. And it's just so interesting. It's so interesting. I highly recommend.
Well, I don't know if you heard the click of my pen, but I literally was like, I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
No, that sounds really good.
I always have a documentary to recommend. Always.
I'm probably gonna watch. Maybe I'll watch that right after this. I do want to ask you real quick, what did you think of Severance season 2? Am I just being a little bit of a hater with that show?
No, I don't think so at all. Like, I think like I do agree it was kind of all over the place. It was kind of like sometimes you watch an episode and you're like, well, I learned nothing this episode. Like, and I feel like this show is in a place where it's got to give us some answers. And I did not like the ending at all. I don't know if you have an opinion on the ending. I did not like the end of season 2 at all. I literally was like, what the F is happening? What is he doing? I was not okay with the end. What did you think? Like, I just feel like it's got to give us something. It's got to give us a little more than what it gave us.
Yeah, I think the best episode was maybe, what was it, episode 7, where they did like the Gemma and Mark sort of love story. It was very like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind to me.
Yes.
And I loved that episode. So like, it's hard because I feel like there were so many moments where I was like, whoa, like completely blown away by it. But yeah, the ending left like a really bitter taste in my mouth. And again, I feel like I haven't thought about that show once since I stopped watching, other than to like ask you about it. But I think the problem with the ending is like, I don't care about Mark S. and Helly. I'm sorry if people stand them. I know people on when they have a lot of stands on Twitter or whatever. But to me, they spend so much time building up like Mark and Gemma, and I'm like, I don't care about these other people.
Yes. And why would you spend all that time building up Mark and Gemma just to have him leave her? Like, I was so mad.
And like, let me just say, because like, I think some of the things that happened between Mark S. and Helly weren't entirely consensual, in my opinion. So I feel like the way that relationship has been portrayed is like kind of gross to me. So I'm like, I don't need that. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see with Severance, but I was like, super disappointed in the second season as a whole, I think. Even though, like I said, there's like very strong moments, but now I'm like, I need the pit to win everything. Like before I was like completely like give Severance, but now I'm like, no, I just think the pit like is just so good. And
it's so good. And yeah, the pit, they're so different, right? But with Severance, it was like we'd watch it every week and then we'd just be pissed at the end of the episode that we didn't get answers on things, or like, for whatever reason, whatever happened. And the pit, even when like terrible things were happening, like I still felt so invested and so like, just so invested in the story and those characters. Like it just is such an incredible show. Yeah.
I like a show where I feel like they know what they're doing. And I feel like with Severance season 2, they were spinning their wheels. If the next season comes out and it turns out that all these like random sort of divergence we took had a point, I'll come back on this podcast and say, Erica, I was wrong, and eat my words. But to me, it just seems like they gave Ben Stiller, bless his heart, they were like, you can do whatever you want because the first season was so popular, and like maybe that's not always a good thing.
Right.
So,
I saw a meme or like a Instagram reel or something that was like the Severance writers room was like, we have so many good ideas. We have so many good ideas. And it's like, where do you take them and where do they go? And like how like it just seems like it was like so many spider webs and like no connections at some point. And it was doing so much.
Same thing with the White Lotus, because Mike White is like the singular vision behind it. I'm like, dude, maybe you do need some collaborators to get in there and like rein you in a little bit. Yeah. And I've been thinking about that a lot with like prestige TV and also with film, because you have, Netflix that'll give these directors like X amount of money and make whatever they want. And on the one hand, I'm like, that's kind of cool, but I'm like, maybe having like a budget or like time constraints or like maybe you need that sometimes.
Right.
I say on 106 of this podcast, and JD's probably like, maybe I should give you 2 time constraints.
There is one more show that I just remembered I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes.
Have you been watching The Studio?
Yeah. Okay. So not to be that person, but I did get all 10 episodes. So I've seen the whole thing, and it's like, it's really good. It's so good. And I laughed a lot. And I feel like a lot of times with comedies, I don't know if you do this, but I'll be like, haha, like that's cute. But like with The Studio, like there were moments where I was like genuinely laughing out loud. And I don't know if this is problematic, but like when I was a teenager, I was obsessed with Entourage. Like I loved Entourage because it was like a show about Hollywood. And so I loved seeing like the inner workings of that. And so I feel like it's like The Studio is like everything that I loved about Entourage without it being about gross dudes who just wanted to like sleep with a lot of women. So I feel like I've been waiting for something like The Studio for so long, and I enjoyed it so much. Like it's really good.
It's genuinely funny, and as someone also who's like a production nerd and also has worked production, it will get your heart racing in some episodes. You're like, oh my god, because you're like, you've either been in a situation like that, or you can like feel the tension or the secondhand embarrassment or whatever is happening. But also if you're just someone who loves like Hollywood and production, like highly recommend.
And I feel like it's like weirdly relevant because in The Studio they're making a, what is it, Kool-Aid? They're making a Kool-Aid movie.
Yes.
And then they just announced like a Hershey movie, I think like this week. And so people were like, it's literally like they're taking things from the studio. Like, so I feel like it's like very, even if you're like tangentially like not even that into film, like I feel like you would still enjoy it because it's 100%. So good at like, parodying the industry.
Yeah, and it's genuinely funny. Like you'll laugh out loud.
Yeah, the other show that I want to see, I haven't seen yet, but there's a new show with John Hamm on Apple too that's supposed to be good. It's like Good Friends and Neighbors, I think. Yeah. Good Friends. Real quick, because we've covered film, TV. So just, have you been reading anything?
Yes. Okay. So, my book club, we read Catcher in the Rye, which was really cool. That was like a classic one that like I had never read. So that was fun. We're reading right now The Silent Patient.
I have opinions about that book. Come back to me.
What's funny is when that was like super hyped and everyone was like talking about it, I listened to it on audiobook and like I remember things, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna like read it this time, and it's been like a completely different experience. So I'm almost done. I'm like halfway through. So I'll touch base with you when I'm done. And then I'm also like, I've been like listening to like the graphic audio of Iron Flame. I don't know if you read that.
That's like the most recommended, like the amount of people that are like, have you read Iron Flame? And I just haven't.
Did you read Fourth Wing?
I haven't read any of them. Should I? Is it worth?
Well, I don't want to. It's controversial, I think. So we'll talk about it offline. And then we're about to start reading Red Rising. Did you read those?
No, and that's the other thing. Like I've seen them everywhere. They've been recommended to me multiple times.
Right. I've been told Red Rising is like a Hunger Games, but like in space. So I loved the Hunger Games. So.
Well, did you read the new? Are you planning on reading the new Hunger Games book?
No, wasn't there a couple of them? I saw the movie, but like I just
have you read any of them? Because I've only read the original trilogy. I didn't read.
I read the original as well. That's all I've read. Yeah.
Because I didn't read the fourth one. I just watched the movie. But then I've heard like mixed things where people are like, "This is the best Hunger Games book," and then other people say it's terrible. So I'm kind of mixed on like if I'm going to read it before the movie comes out or not. So it's funny because I feel like with the popularity of book talk, I've also been struggling with this because on the one hand, they're like, opening new Barnes and Noble stores and all this kind of stuff because I feel like reading has kind of become popular again, which is great. But then sometimes I'm like, some of these books that have become popular, I'm like, I don't know. Or like I'll read these books that are like really, talked about. And I've said this before. I don't know if I've said this on this podcast, but like I am okay with reading, I'll read any, like it doesn't always have to be like a classic. Like I'll read anything, but sometimes I'll read and I'll just be like, this book had no redeeming qualities. So I read, speaking of like things that are traumatizing that I decided, Pachinko, I've had on my shelf for like 10 years, ever since it came out. I think it came out, 2017. So I've had it on my shelf and I was like, I love the show. I think the show is so good. So I was like, let me just read this book. And that was my most so that's why it's fresh on my mind. But I love Pachinko. I finally read 11/22/63, my first Stephen King book.
We have talked about this one because it is always like on my Libby, like, I've been renting it on Libby and then it's like I don't have the time, so I like give it back and I'm like, give it back to me in like 30 days or whatever. I've heard it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's one of those books like it when I read it, I was like there were certain things that kind of pissed me off, but I like can't stop thinking about it, which is like I feel like when you read a lot, that's kind of the tell of like, have I thought about this book since and I feel like I keep coming back to it. So now part of me is like, oh, do I need to dig into Stephen King because that's the only Stephen King book that I've read.
Oh, really?
I haven't read anything else, but I've seen the movie.
I love Stephen. Yeah, you should. Yeah.
So yeah, if anyone has any, because I'm going on a long trip, so I need as many book recommendations. If anyone has book recommendations, I'm always asking for book recommendations, but specifically right now. And then the book talk book that I did read that I want to talk about real quick is Notes on an Execution. Have you seen this book? It's everywhere.
I think so.
It's really good.
What's it about?
It's like, okay, so it's like 24 hours before this man is set to be executed, and it goes between his point of view and the point of view, I think, of like 4 women in his life. Like,
yes.
Phenomenal. Really, really good stuff.
Okay.
That's probably, I've been reading a lot. Maybe we'll do, we've been saying we're going to do like a full book episode, but those are probably the stands out of my like recent. Did you start Hamnet? I haven't. Have you?
I did. That was one that like, when I looked up what it was, I was like, okay, I should listen to this on audiobook. And I started the audiobook and I enjoyed it, but then like I wasn't able to finish it before I had to like return it on Libby. So I was enjoying it, but I just like I didn't have the time. So I know that was one that we talked about because we know that's coming.
No, I do want to read it, especially because I just finished Pachinko, and so I was Googling like books similar to Pachinko, and that came up a lot where they were like, "Oh, if you like this book, you would like Hamnet." So now I like really want to read it.
Okay, well, take it on your trip. Take it on your trip, and then that'll motivate me to finish it.
Okay, but then that means I'm gonna keep messaging you and being like, Erica, hurry up. No, that happened to me with Everything is Tuberculosis, the new John Green book.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one too.
Yeah, which is I started it and I was like midway through, but then I didn't get to finish it and I ran out of like story on Spotify, like my audiobook hours.
Oh.
But it's really good. It's such a fascinating book. It's about how like tuberculosis is everywhere and we don't really think about how it's like influenced human history in really ways. From where
I remember seeing like a thing that was like, you should read this book, and it was like, yes, this is the same John Green who wrote Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah.
Right?
Which have you, other than Fault in Our Stars, have you read anything by
what was his other one, like Finding Alaska or
Looking for Alaska?
what was it?
Looking for Alaska.
looking for Alaska. That was so old lady of me. Finding Alaska. I think I think I've read something else. Oh wait, no. What was it? Was it Turtles All the Way Down or something?
All the way. Yeah, that's the
That
only
was the
two
one I
books that I've read are Turtles and the Fault in Our Stars, which I'm not a big YA reader, but then I was reading everything and I was like, man, John Green, like he really knows how to write. Like maybe I just need to read his other stuff. So maybe I'll get into that. But that's what we've learned about Erica in today's episode is she doesn't like Pittsburgh and
Correct.
Also,
there's going to be new Taylor Jenkins Reid coming out soon.
Yes.
And that I know you're a Taylor Jenkins Reid girly, so am I. So maybe that should be like one of our.
And there's a new. Are you into Emily Henry? Because there's a new Emily Henry book coming out. Like,
yes.
I'm
obsessed with her. She's really, an immediate buy for me. Like immediate buy. Yeah.
Emily Henry, Taylor Jenkins Reid. I haven't read everything by Kristen Hanna, but she's like, if there's a new Kristen Hanna, I read her right away. Sally Rooney. I'm sorry for those of you who don't like Sally Rooney, but she's like immediate hardcover. Buy it the day it comes out. I loved Intermezzo, talking about books that I read earlier this year. That's my favorite book of hers. It's the best thing she's written, in my opinion. I love it so much. I don't care if that makes me basic. If you think, let me know if you think it's basic, because I love debating Sally Rooney with people, but I love her.
Did she do Normal People?
She did Normal People.
That's the only one I read. That's the only one I read.
Beautiful World, Where Are You? And then Intermezzo is her new one, which I think is her best, even more than Normal People. But
what's that one about?
What, Intermezzo? Oh, it's so good. It's two brothers and their father just passes away. And there's they have there's like a 10-year age gap or something. And so it's kind of like how they're navigating this new relationship and like kind of the resentments that happen between siblings, and they both have these like romantic relationships, and it also gives you the perspective of their partners. I thought it was just phenomenal. And like one of the brothers, he's like a chess champion, like a chess master, which is like you don't really read about that. I thought that was really cool. I just thought that it was so good. So, and then also I love, again, basic, but Leanne Moriarty. Like if she has a new book, I love her, and I really liked her new one is called Here One Moment, which I really liked as well. So,
I saw that one recently.
I'm seated for these authors.
Well, summertime is my favorite time to read, and I'm gonna have a lot of time this summer to read, and I am so excited. So
you should do what I do and alternate between like a fluffy, light book and then devastate yourself and then go back into something that's like fluffy again.
No, that's a good way to do it for sure. There's a new book by like a Baltimore-based author. It's called First Time Caller, and it's like kind of like a retelling of like Sleepless in Seattle, but I think the character roles are flopped. I don't know. I picked it up because
it's a romance novel. Yeah, I've seen that. I want to read that. That's on my whole list. I'm like, as soon as I get it, I'm gonna read it.
I bought it from a local bookstore because I was like, it's a local author. I want to go to a local bookstore and buy it. So I did. So it'll be one of my first reads this summer, I think.
Nice. Well, Erica, you did mention you did have a birthday a couple days ago. So publicly happy birthday, belated birthday. Other than Watch Wicked, which of course you watch Wicked on your birthday. Did you have a good birthday?
I had a great birthday. I refuse to work on my birthday, so I always take the day off, and I always have like a me day. So like facial, massage. I went shopping and I bought a couple books. I obviously have owned Gone Girl for a very long time, but I lent it to someone and they never gave it back, which is fine. And I was at the bookstore and it was like Gone Girl was sitting there, and it was like it was like some type of like special edition with like additional scenes or something that were like cut from. So I was like, oh, I'll buy this. And then I also, have you ever seen the film Never Let Me Go?
Yes, the book is one of my favorites.
So that film wrecked me in college. I saw it for one of my film classes. I don't remember which one, but I like remember being wrecked by it and always being like, I really should read the book. I really should read the book. So I bought that for myself too. Then I went shopping. I bought like a bunch of cute dresses for spring and summer. I treated myself to a really yummy bagel and like coffee, like local bagel, local coffee. Came home, watched Wicked, and then had Thai food with my family, and then cake and ice cream with my family, and it was a great day. It was a great day.
What a legend! I love any story that starts with "I refuse to work on my birthday."
I refuse. I will never mark it. People are like, oh, like when you get older. I'm like, no, you don't know me at all. I will not be working on my birthday ever. That is my day for me every day, every year of my life. So.
Well, if you want to give Erica a birthday gift, you could start by subscribing to the In Session Film podcast feed. Follow us on social media. We are literally everywhere. I think there's not a single social media platform that JD does not have covered. So please follow us, rate and review us, tell people about the podcast. Leave us comments. Let us know about all sorts of things. What do you guys think of the stunt category being added? What other Oscar categories that we didn't even think of that you think would be cool and interesting? Let us know what TV you've been watching. Let us know what books I think part of the reason, number one, part of this reason that I love this podcast is I get to talk to you, but also I just I'm always trying to seek recommendations for all sorts of things. So yeah. I'm probably going to watch, because I have not watched Never Let Me Go because I love the book so much and it's so precious to me. I'm like, I don't want to watch the adaptation.
Oh,
but now I'm like, I need to watch
it. It's so good.
Well, you need to read it. I feel like if you like the book, you love the book. So that's what we're going to be doing. But Erica, where can people find you and engage with you?
Yes, everyone can follow me at eRock Reviews on Twitter. I'm also, I think I'm eRock Reviews on like Letterboxd. I need to, like, I'm always keeping up to date my Letterboxd, and I want you to get one. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
You're from Pittsburgh. Erica is still lovely. She's still a fun person to engage with. But
I know
I want Baltimore centric content on your socials, Erica. So I guess if people have an issue with Baltimore, I had no idea. This blew my mind, by the way. It's like the biggest takeaway is I had no idea that Pittsburgh and Baltimore had beef.
Oh, huge rivals for sure. Yeah.
I think that's like Houston and Dallas. Like my friend was like, I love Dallas. And I was like, why? Don't talk about positive things about Dallas here. We don't want that.
That's so funny. Where can people follow you, Shadan?
I'm at Shadan Larkey everywhere. I always say the blessing of a foreign name, as much as I feel like it cursed me in my life, the blessing is that I get any social media handle that I want. So at Shadan Larkey everywhere. Thank you guys for listening as we I know this went a little long, but we haven't had a chance to do this in a while.
And we need to catch up. I'm glad we did.
And I would love to know from people, like, kind of we're in this off season, like, what kind of content would you guys like to hear from us? Should we do more TV? Should we do books? Should we, maybe dig into some early predictions? Like, what kinds of things would you guys like to listen to and watch?
Yeah. And before we know it, it'll be summer. And we'll be
I thought you were going to say before we know it, it's going to be Oscar season again. But it's going to be summer before that.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody, and thank you for listening.